Hi, Life Church. Today I wanted to talk to you about Matthew 27. And right here in this story, it's talking about Jesus and when he's crucified or when he's going through the crucifixion. And when it says in Matthew 27:55, and many women who had come from Galilee with Jesus to care for him were watching from a distance. Among them were Mary Magdalene, Mary, the mother of James and Joseph, and the mother of James, and John, the sons of Zebedee. And even as evening approached, Joseph, the rich man from Arimathea, who had become a follower of Jesus, went to Pilate and asked for Jesus' body. And Pilate issued an order to release it to him. Joseph took the body and wrapped it in a long sheet of clean linen cloth. He placed it in his own new tomb, which had been carved out of the rock. Then he rolled a great stone across the entrance and left. Both Mary Magdalene and the other Mary were sitting across from the tomb and watching. This story, so often I feel like we run through the crucifixion story, and we've seen it so many times that we kind of block out some things. But I think it's really important in this moment because we've come up to this point where Jesus is in the Garden of Gethsemane. He's with the disciples, and the disciples are all in, and so much so that they're ready to fight for it, right? Like we see Peter, he's cutting off ears and stuff. They're ready for it. And then Jesus is like, no, I'm going to go with them. They're in this moment of denial. We see Peter deny Jesus, and we see all the other disciples like, I don't know what's going on anymore. And it's almost like the enemy's won. But one of the things that we kind of, I think, miss a lot in this is the moment that we miss, like Mary Magdalene and the other Mary and these other followers of Jesus. They're women at that time. And because of that, we know based off of Jewish writings that they probably weren't included into a lot of these things, right? Because they were women. But we see them staying faithful to Jesus in the midst of that. And one of the things that really reminds me of is that no matter what is coming at you sometimes, and no matter the people around you sometimes don't always follow the right things in the moment, right? And a lot of that has to do with because of their insecurities and what's going on inside of them. But just to focus your eyes on Jesus in any moment. Here's the very moment that God's looking, to do the very thing that he was meant to do here on earth, right? To bring us all to this new place of redemption. And because we're supposed to walk in that moment of redemption, it looked completely different than what everyone was expecting, the Jewish people. And we see that the disciples are kind of walking away from it because it wasn't what they expected, but it was what God expected. And I think in those moments when it doesn't quite work out the way that we thought, where are we and who are we looking to? Are we like what we consider the 12 disciples, and are we just kind of like, it's not what we want, so we're out? Or are we like Mary Magdalene, and are we like the other women that were disciples at that time? And are we following Jesus, even though we don't see the end? They didn't even see the end, so much so that they were at the tomb. We see even Joseph, Arimathea, he was there still even at the tomb. He prepared the tomb. He got the tomb, right? Like he made that happen. And we see these individuals who, even though the 12 might have abandoned Jesus in that moment and been lost in their own insecurities, they were still with Jesus. And I think it's so important in our moments when it doesn't go the way that we planned. Are we like them and we're still with Jesus in that moment, even though we don't see the end factors? Or do we kind of just fall away and get lost in our own doubts? Do we get lost in our own insecurities? Or are we following what God has for us? And so it's just keep your eyes on Jesus, even though it may not look like it's going the way that it should. Because at the end, we know that he's the winner and he's the one that conquers the grave. Thanks.